Hey friends, it's Megan Lorson back with another bridal hair tutorial for you today. So I'm going to be showing you how to create a beautiful French braided updo in today's tutorial. And if you guys are new here, make sure you subscribe because I post videos every week on bridal hair tutorials, as well as videos on how to grow and market your bridal beauty business and be very successful at what you do. So let's go ahead and get straight into the tutorial, and make sure you also give this video a thumbs up if you do find it helpful. So the first thing I want to do is prep her hair and add moisture into it to start to give it shine. I'm going to be using Paul Mitchell Awapui Styling Treatment Oil. It's a super lightweight oil, helps to treat the hair, give it shine, and it's good for all hair types. So even on those finer hair types, it does really well, and the oil just soaks right into the hair because it is a dry oil. So this is a really good oil. I'm going to go ahead and comb that through once we've got it worked in our hair. That way it just evenly disperses throughout the hair and starts to get into the hair. Next, what I want to do is start to section out this crown area and get the sections that I'm going to be braiding. So first I'm going to start off by figuring out how much hair I want in this crown area. So we're going to have one French braid in the back and then one on each side, and they're all going to be flowing into a beautiful low bun. So I'm going to push that hair forward, and I'm going to make sure I comb all of the crown area hair straight back so we get that nice volume bump up here. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing, and you just want to make sure that you are taking even sized sections and that the side portions are going to be fairly even. Now, when I am sectioning this, I am taking like zigzag sections. I don't want this to be super clean parting because when we braid it, I don't want you to see any lines or anything. So it is a little bit uneven, but there is the same amount of hair on both sides that we are braiding. So depending on where your bride parts her hair, you may have to change it a little bit to get this to flow nicely, especially if she does have a heavier part on one side. I'm gonna go ahead and take my duckbill clips and just clip the hair in the front out of the way. That way we keep it separated. The next thing I'm going to do is just quickly go through her hair and curl it. And this is only to smooth the hair and to add more shine into the hair. If needed, you can add a little bit of Tame Wild. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to each section. I'm going to just rub it through my hands until it's dissolved. I'm going to run it through the section, especially on those ends, to just add more moisture into the ends. And then I'll take a little bit of my Paul Mitchell Hot Off the Press Heat Protectant and lightly spray that through her hair. And then I'm just going to quickly take large sections of hair and give it a little curl, mostly just on the ends. And this prep part and this step does not need to take a long time because I'm just trying to add that shine into the hair and smooth it, so I don't need to spend a lot of time since we are going to be putting the hair up. So I'm just going to quickly go through all of this hair, and it doesn't really matter how you curl the hair. If you want to alternate them back and forth or do them all in the same direction, that's really not going to matter with this style because it is going to be all braided and then pulled up into the bun. So I'm going to continue this section. I'm going to work my way all the way up, just curling the ends of the hair, and then I'm going to work my way and just curl the ends in the front, and then I'll show you what we will do next to get that braided bridal bun. Okay, so once I've gone through in large sections and just smoothed out her hair with a little curl and added some shine, I'm gonna go ahead and spray a little bit of this Awapui shine spray on her ends. I love using this product. It just adds a beautiful luminous shine to the hair and just makes it look really luxury. Some people won't need this. She definitely needs it if she's got really dry hair, but you might not always have to use this. But I also love to use this product as like a finishing product after some of my updos and even half up, half down styles, just to add that little bit more shine. And I will link all of the products that I'm using down below in the description. So if you guys are interested or want to check out what I'm using, all of it will be linked down in the description. So now we're going to start with the crown area, and I want to go ahead and start working in and building in some texture. That way her volume is going to last all day and all night. So I'm going to start off by teasing her hair a little bit at the root area. So I'm going to take my comb, and this is my pink pewter comb. I absolutely love it. It is so amazing. I'm going to spray a little bit of Osis Soft Dust texturizing powder right at the root area, and I want to keep it just at the root. And then when I tease the hair, I'm going to keep it very, very close to the root. 10, 11, 12. I'm not starting up very high. I'm just keeping it just at the root area. I'm going to go ahead, take another section, and don't worry about your curls coming out, because that step was only to smooth the hair, because again, we are going to braid it. I'm going to pump a little bit more texture powder at the root area and go ahead and tease it. And then I'm going to take another section, spray a little bit of the texture powder, and then tease it, just keeping it very clean, very close to the root area. And then I'm going to take one more section back. And you can tease as much as you would like to, as much as you need to. You can continue teasing back further, but I just want to tease right here so we get a little bit of lift. Now with the braid, we are going to be getting a lot of volume with that, and it is fairly easy to get volume when doing a braid because you can sort of pinch and pull out the volume when you're doing a braid. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and take all my sections and push them back, and you guys can already see how much volume that was starting to give. I'm just gonna lightly comb any of the flyaways and smooth it down a little bit, and all my tease is in there, as you can see. So our first braid, we're gonna start with that center braid in the back. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of the Osis Tame Wild and just work with it on my hands to keep everything smooth and frizz-free as I'm working through the hair. But I'm gonna take this whole entire top section here, and I'm gonna start up pretty high because I want that definition of that braid to start at the very top. If you take too thick of a section and start down too low, it's not gonna give as much definition, texture, volume, and all of that up there. So I'm going to just take my fingers and get out my section. It does not need to be super even. You can have like a zigzag section up here. But I'm gonna start by taking that product and just running it through to smooth everything out. Then I'm going to divide the hair in 3 sections to start the braid. And then I'm going to start braiding under, and then I'm going to put that under, and then I'm going to go ahead, when I start the next braid, I'm going to take another section of hair from this middle section and start adding it in. Same with the other side. I'm going to add in hair from the other side, and each section is going under the middle section. And every time I start back over with the braid on one of the sides, I'm continuing to grab more hair in with it, and then that whole section goes under under that middle section. And then make sure you're watching your braid, making sure everything's staying as smooth as it can as you're braiding. And you want to make sure that your braid is staying centered. I'm gonna come back over here, grab a little bit more hair, and then just make sure that you are grabbing even amounts of hair as you're working your way down so the braid stays consistent in thickness. I'm going to grab more hair on this side and bring it under. And then I'm going to grab more hair on the other side and bring it under. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way down until we braid all of this hair in to this back section. And keeping it center, grab a little bit more hair on this side. And I'm going to bring it under the middle section. And then we go ahead and grab the rest of this hair under here. And now everything is in the braid, and you can continue all the way to the ends. I'm gonna take my comb and just smooth out the ends a little bit, and then I'll finish the braid. So I'm gonna braid all the way down. And then once I get to the end of the braid, I'm gonna go ahead and secure it with an elastic, and I am gonna leave a good 3 to 4 inches out at the end. I don't want to braid it all the way because we are going to pinch and pull this braid out. So I want to make sure that we have room to do that. And if you braid too far down, once you start pulling, you're going to start just pulling the whole braid out. So that's why we're going to leave about 3 to 4 inches at the end. Now what I'm going to do is start pulling out this braid and just manipulating it to lay how I want it to. I'm going to get these little swoopy pieces coming out from the braid. I'm going to pull each one out a little bit to start to get it to lay how I want it to. I want to make sure we've got the amount of volume up here that she wants. And then we're going to start just pulling out this braid. And then you can go from the bottom. And what I like to do here before pulling out the braid is take a little bit more of my soft dust and just pump it on the hair. This is going to give that braid texture, and it's going to help you make it a lot bigger and fluffier. So then I'm going to just work my way up, pinching and pulling it out as much as we can. And then you can scooch this elastic up just by separating the hair in two and just pulling it a little bit tighter when the hair starts to come out, because as you pull the braid out, your end is going to become a lot shorter. So I'm just fluffing out this braid, working my way up the hair. And just basically keep playing with it until you're happy with how it looks. And I actually would have done an actual French braid where you're taking the strands over, but for hers, I did want to go ahead and make the braid pop a little bit more. So in the inspiration picture that I showed you, her braid was more of a French braid. So basically, like I said, all you would do is take the hair over the middle, over instead of under. So for this braid, to make it pop a little bit more, what I did when I did this braid was I took it under. So when you take a braid under the middle, then it creates the braid to look more like it's popping out a little bit more. Whereas the French braid makes it look a little, it's more inverted and it doesn't pop as much. So hopefully that made sense. Okay. Let me go ahead and, okay, once you're happy with how it looks, and we can always pinch and pull and manipulate it more, which we probably will once we do the sides. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of my Volume Up hairspray. I'm just gonna spray the sides, give it a little spritz. That way it will help hold that. Now we're gonna work on the sides. I'm gonna start on this side right here. And we're going to start creating another braid back into this one. Now first I want to determine how much hair I'm going to want out in the front. So once I figure that out, then what I'm going to do is take a section at the top here, and that's where we're going to start the braid. And it's very important to stand back behind where you want that braid to fall, because especially with this, when you're essentially marrying 3 braids together into this updo to make them flow nicely, you want to make sure that this is going in the direction and going to flow nicely with what we've already gotten done in the middle with that first braid. So I'm going to start up here in a little bit of a corner section, so it's a diagonal section, and I'm going to split the hair in 3 sections. I'm going to get a little bit more of that Tame Wild cream in my hands. I'm going to go ahead and run it through this section just to smooth it out a little bit more. And then we're going to do the same type of braid. We're going to get it in 3 sections, and then each side is going to go underneath the middle. Then the side over here goes underneath the middle. Then we're going to start grabbing a little bit of this hair as we come down with the braid. And then as we're doing this braid, we're only going to be grabbing hair from the right side. So there's no hair to grab from the left side. So every time we complete one braid, I guess is how I'm trying to say it, then we're going to grab hair from this side every time. And as long as you're grabbing hair consistently from this side, it's going to ensure that the braid stays nice and even as you braid it. And you just want to make sure that your sections and everything are smooth and that they're blending together as you go down doing this braid. And we're going to grab some more hair and incorporate it in. And again, just make sure you keep in mind that it's staying close to the head. And I'm going to go ahead and finish off grabbing that section. And then we're going to braid it all the way down to the end. And then once we braid it to mostly the end, we're going to leave again like 3 or 4 inches at the end. Take another elastic and secure it. Next, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to expand this braid and really start to blend it. I'm going to pump a little bit of my soft dust powder into it. And then just start pinching and pulling this braid out slowly as we work our way up. And it's important to get this braid nice and full, because what's left down here is going to form the bun. So the fluffier we can get it, the fuller we can make that bun look. So you really want to take your time pulling out this braid as much as you possibly can. And we'll just keep working our way up. And then as you get into the braid that's closest to the head, you want to start making sure that it really blends in with what we've already braided. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull it out even more up here. And let's see. And then you can pull up on the front to make sure you get the right amount of volume. And you just really want to make sure that this braid flows over into where we had sectioned that hair, just to make it flow nicely. Then I'm going to go ahead, once I am happy with how that looks, I'm going to pull out these little swoopy pieces on this side. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and just pin this over into that other braid. I'm just going to take a bobby pin straight in, and I'm going to do a little bit of a weaving motion into this braid. And because it's braided, it just helps to lock it in. And then that can just lay on top for now until we complete the other side. And then I'm going to take a little bit of hairspray, spray that in place. And again, you can just play with both sides to really marry them together. So there's that. We're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, I'm grabbing a little bit more Ossis Tame Wild and just running it through my hands, and then we're gonna take it through this last section right here. And then we're gonna start that braid the same place. We're gonna take almost like a little triangle section at the top. Hopefully you can see that. And then we're gonna divide that in 3 sections. And then what we're gonna do is just start braiding under, and then when you get to this outer section, that's when we're gonna start grabbing more hair. And then we're just going to keep taking the sections under. And then again, when we come over here, we're gonna grab a little bit more hair from just that side and then take it under the middle section. And then come over here, take this section under. We're gonna grab a little bit more hair as we work our way down. Going to bring the other section down, and then we're gonna go ahead and grab the rest of this. And again, we're trying to braid it in this way, around the head and down into what we've already braided. So everything flows really nicely together. And then we're gonna complete this braid, tie it off, and then I'm gonna expand the braid just like I did the other ones, and then I'll show you how I'm gonna do the bun. Okay, so we've just finished braiding all 3 sections, and I went ahead and took this bobby pin out on this side because I want to go ahead and take both of these side sections and crisscross them underneath the middle section. Once they are crisscrossed underneath, I'm going to go ahead and take my bobby pins in and secure them in place. So, and I want to make sure they're nice and tight on the sides, so it tapers the sides in. So I want to make sure they're not like loose and puffy and kind of flappy. And then just make sure that you crisscross your bobby pins so it locks it in place. Now all 3 tails are pretty much coming together. So then I'm just going to take the tail ends and kind of wrap them and roll them up into the center. And I'm going to just take this to the side a little bit. Just hold it with my thumb and my fingers, and then once I like where it is placed, I'm gonna go ahead and start locking that in. So I'm gonna take multiple bobby pins, make sure it is not going anywhere, it's nice and secure. And then I'm gonna place one on this side. Okay, now I can take my hands off and it should stay. And I'm just going to continue to put a few more bobby pins in. And they're locking into those little braids underneath. And then make sure that you crisscross some of them so it really holds it in place. Once you have enough bobby pins in to keep it in place, you can come back through and pull out the braids more. And then you can pull out this bun a little bit more to make it a little bit more fuller and fluffier. Okay, going to put one more under here. Perfect. Okay, so there is our finished look. A very simple updo, beautiful braids, and it's really all about the prep work. And then what we can do after is spray a little bit of that shine spray. I'll show you guys a whole 360 view of the updo before the video ends. But it's really all about the prep work, adding shine, keeping your hair smooth, using the right products to hold it, and then just manipulating those braids out. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. As always, let me know in the comments if you have any other video suggestions. I try to read all of your comments and try to respond back to as many that I can. But give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.